Hey turn-based lovers, Leaf here, back at it with another sponsored video. This time we'll be checking out this upcoming mecha turn-based PvP game from Fusion Interactive called Fusionist. Like, who doesn't love cool looking mechs and turn-based battles in this channel? Now, before we begin, I'd like to reiterate that this video is sponsored, but at the same time, we did also want to showcase something that looked pretty unique to the turn-based lovers community. So what exactly is Fusionist? Well, Fusionist is actually a multi-layered NFT project where the economy heavily revolves around tokens. There are 3 layers to this project that they're calling Game 1, Game 2, and Game 3, or Colonize, Conquer, and Unite respectively. Game 1 is a building simulation / resource management game, and this is primarily where you'll be earning most of your resources to build new mechs, and this will be accessible directly through a browser. Game 2 is a turn-based PvP game, and this is where we'll be focusing much of our attention in this video. And Game 3 describes itself as explore and expand across the galaxy, claiming territory and resources, but that's really all we get for now. So let's talk about Game 2, or the Conquer game of Fusionist. Compared to Game 1, Game 2 will be available on Steam and on the Epic Game Store, but the 2 games tie in together, so I'd imagine you still have to maintain some sort of activity in Game 1 to make any progress or even participate in Game 2. Right off the bat, you can kind of already see the graphical fidelity and the amount of thought put into the visuals. The game is visually appealing, and the mechs even more so. Let's talk about the mechs for a little bit. The mechs in this game are one of the things that I really appreciated, especially because a lot of them have pretty interesting designs. While the same type of mech usually has the same frame or silhouette, the diversity of details between 2 different mechs are pretty nice. Even though these 2 mechs are pretty much both strikers, their looks and personality, and weirdly enough how they perform in combat, are both pretty different. I just really like the overall visual design that they were going for here, so a huge nod to the people who made these. Good job. Anyway, Fusionist is a turn-based strategy game that offers strategic depth and tactical gameplay. Players assemble a team of 5 mechs, each with their own unique skills and roles to play. There's also these things called cores that give significant buffs to your mechs and sometimes alter how you play them. Aside from that, mech skills also have elemental reactions that create certain effects under the right conditions. For example, burn deals damage over time, electric chains damage between enemies, and frozen can freeze enemies in place. Mechs also have 5 different role classes: the Striker, the Keystone, the Buster, the Bullseye, and the Apostle. Each of them fill a very specific role, with some excelling in close quarters combat while others provide support from a safe distance. Using all these aspects of the game, you'll be building a team of 5 unique mechs to do battle with other players. But how exactly do you get these mechs? Well, as of making this video, mechs are obtained by spending resources to scan for mech blueprints. Every scan reveals a mech and their equipped weapons, then you can choose to craft or discard them, but note that crafting a mech also costs important currency. But having dupes isn't exactly a bad idea, considering that you're going to need them anyway for upgrading your main team. See, in Fusionist, leveling up mechs requires sacrificing another mech of the same type and of the same level, but this really boosts the effectiveness of a mech every time you level them up. Leveling up mechs may also give them weapons, so I don't really see any issues in doing so. Now, the game is primarily focused on PvP, but if you're not confident with your abilities yet, then you can always try doing some missions that pit you against AI enemies first. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the combat. Fusionist is first and foremost a turn-based tactics game, which means that combat takes place inside a grid, and aside from having better units, team combinations and positioning is the key to winning battles. The basics are there and well established. You can reposition your mechs during their turn and perform attacks to any enemy that is within their weapon range, but there are also a lot of different skills that you can use depending on the equipped weapons. And speaking of, what skills your mech has is dictated by what weapons they have equipped, and the only real way of getting new weapons for an existing mech, at least as of right now, is by leveling them up. But the skills that I've seen so far are pretty diverse, and there are some that are already very interesting. I haven't exactly explored every skill this game has to offer, so I leave them to you to discover. This game has a lot of depth in terms of combat, and while the game isn't exactly finished yet, it definitely has a lot of potential, and we are eager to see what comes next in the future. If you're curious to experience the game for yourself, you can download the game by clicking the link down in the description. Now, I don't really dabble in the NFT stuff, so I didn't talk about any of that in this video. So for more details about that, like how to connect your wallet and how to gain access to the games, consider joining the Fusionist Discord, because they're the ones who will be able to help you out with all that crypto stuff, and the community is pretty helpful too, so it's unlikely that you'll have to wait long for a response. Anyways, this is basically the end of this video, but if you want to check out some pure unadulterated gameplay, you can definitely stick around for a while and see more of the game. As always, make sure to hit like, subscribe if you're new around here, and remember to follow turn-based lovers for everything turn-based. This has been Leaf, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So here we can see the deployment phase. So you usually want to have your vanguards up front, and then dealers and supports at the back. You can also see the enemy's deployment table here, so you can roughly guess where they'll be placing their units. Seems we are the first to move. So the enemy has one keystone, one buster, one bullseye, and 2 strikers. I think the first order of business is to get my bullseye or my sniper mech to a position where it can start dealing damage. But I don't really want it fighting someone that the keystone is guarding. So I'll move this here for now, and moving your mech to a yellow tile, to this one, and instantly ends the turn. But if I move it to the white tile, I still have the opportunity to do some actions, either attack or to move again. But I'll move this guy back for now to a safer distance. It seems the enemy is being way too aggressive here, moving his strikers just instantly forward. But the problem is, if you do that, they're essentially open to any type of attack, and they didn't deal damage when they first went in. So what's gonna happen is, well, here's where the keystone excels. When the keystone guards or selects an ally to guard, whenever that ally takes range damage, the keystone basically takes its place instead. So your mech or your damage dealer will be mostly safe during that engagement. It doesn't work against AoEs or melees though. Then this is the Apostle. I thought I got... Oh wait, no, we do have the nano maintenance. So this is the heal. And it's gonna heal HP and shield health depending on what's damaged. Now we're gonna use the Buster to deal a huge amount of damage. Let's see. Oh wait, this one also has the freezing element, so we'll use that. So much damage. Usually I like using the Buster to deal with the enemy keystone, but considering that we can't reach the keystone yet, I just target whatever's available. Also, it added this frozen defect, which adds damage, negative damage immunity from frozen skills. But this guy is probably the only frozen mech in this game, so I don't think it's gonna be that useful. The elemental effects become significantly more useful the more of the same kind of element mechs you have on the field. But I'll be able to take out that striker and deal some damage to one of these guys here. I think it's a good idea to move my striker just up close and personal, and then let's see, normal attack, evasion slash gives me ballistic computation for 1 turn that I think helps dodge range attacks, but none of these guys here will be able to deal ranged damage anyway, so I'll just use evil slash. It's just essentially normal attack, but just deals more damage. I'll hit their buster, take out the shield. For this guy, let's see. I should just move this for now. Engagement range is pretty much melee for the keystone, unless you get, or unless it spawns with a weapon that deals range damage. Maybe a rocket launcher, but unfortunately it doesn't have that. The sniper is going to try to deal damage there, but the keystone is super tanky, so not really going to do much. The apostle also deals some damage, so when it doesn't really need to heal, or when it can't heal, it can just do that. Unfortunate. The sniper, I can try targeting this striker that's just constantly charging at it, but I feel like it's best to take out enemies that are more vulnerable and deal more damage instead. Like for this one, we'll do penetration. But we'll choose the buster instead of the bullseye, because the enemy bullseye, while it may look like a good idea to take that guy out first, there are 2 problems here. First, it still has a shield. Even if my shot deals a gazillion damage, that shield will protect the HP, and HP will not drop. Also, it has a keystone here that's probably protecting this guy, so we'll deal with a buster instead. But it misses. I'll still deal with a buster, but use the striker this time. And there we go. Finally, my keystone will get a little bit of action here. But it's not really going to deal much damage. I wish I could heal with the apostle, but I don't really have a choice here, so I might as well deal a little bit of damage. Now, remember what I told you earlier about the shield protecting the HP? That's only the case if there's only a single instance of damage. But for cases where there are multiple projectiles damaging a unit, of course, when one of the projectiles breaks the shield, the remaining ones will then damage the HP. So those skills are super great for enemies that still have a little bit of shield health remaining. Take that guy out, and then enemy is now down to 2 units. Now this is basically just gonna have to sweep through this one. Still has a little bit of health. I think this is the best time to demonstrate what I meant about how the shield works. See that, like, my striker usually deals thousands of damage, but that one time it only damaged the shield because the shield protects the mech from instances of damage. But even if there's only one shield remaining, imagine the projectile or your melee weapon just hitting the shield and not really hitting the mech itself, even if it deals a stupendous amount of damage. We'll just have to take out these last 2 units, and that's GG. And I think that about covers it.